Eskimos. The Eskimos live in the vast northern Arctic lands of the American continent. The area stretches from Alaska through northern Canada to Greenland. The winters are long, and in northern Canada, the winter temperature averages 40 degrees below zero. During the short summer, when the ice melts, the ground is covered with moss and lichens. It is estimated that about 60,000 Eskimos live in the whole area. There were probably many more at one time, but epidemics of diseases have wiped out thousands of Eskimos. Many diseases were caught from white Americans or Europeans. Epidemics of some diseases, such as measles, which are not serious among people who are often exposed to them, have a terrible effect when they strike people who have never had them before. The name Eskimo was given to these people by the Indians of southern Canada and the northern United States. It means eaters of raw meat. The Eskimos name for themselves in Inuit, which means man or humanity. Scholars think that the Eskimos called themselves this because they were so isolated. Never having seen other people, they probably believed they were the only people on earth. The Eskimos are very similar to the Mongols of Asia. They have yellowish skin, straight black hair, slanting black eyes, and short, broad bodies. Most scientists believe that the Eskimos, like the American Indians, came to the American continent across the Bering Strait from Asia during a prehistoric ice age. Unlike the Indians, they stayed in the frozen north, so their way of living is entirely different from that of Indians. The Eskimos who live in Alaska and Greenland are home builders and remain in one place. These are not the people we think of as typical Eskimos. The migratory Eskimos in the Canadian Arctic area more familiar to most people. There are about 12,000 of these nomad Eskimos occupying a space as large as the United States. It is so huge and so lonely that 25 men and women may be the whole population of a territory as large as New York State. Yet, the Eskimos of the Canadian Arctic lead a happy and simple life. They have no private possessions beyond their clothes, weapons, sleds, and dogs, and a few hand carved ornaments. They share all property with their neighbors. An Eskimo trades goods instead of buying and selling with money. Community problems are solved by the community. If a man must be punished, usually his own family does it, for they are considered responsible for his behavior. There are no servants. The old and the infirm are cared for and not expected to work. Eskimos are hunters. In the spring, when the snows melt, they live in tents made of skin and hunt the caribou, which come north during the spring hunting season. In the winter, Eskimos hunt mainly for seals. When the land is covered with ice and snow, the Eskimo hunter travels from hunting ground to hunting ground, building a new igloo for himself each night. Eskimos measure time by igloos, one igloo representing one night. These temporary igloos take about 2 hours to build. The man selects the right kind of solid snow and cuts 10 blocks of it. He arranges them around him in a circle with the tops slanting inward. Building from within the circle, he adds other blocks in rings on top of the first row. Each block sticks to the other, and finally, the last block goes in at the top. Then the Eskimo makes a bed of snow inside and covers it with animal skins. The wife chinks up the cracks between the solid blocks with powdered snow. The last job is to make a wind tunnel to shield the doorway. It stretches 12 to 15 feet away from the opening. The inside of the igloo is lit by a soapstone lamp which burns seal oil. The sled dogs have often pull a sled for 20 or 30 miles and they sleep soundly outside the igloo, covering themselves with snow to keep warm. The seal is very valuable to the Eskimos. They use its oil for their lamps, its skin for clothing, and its meat for food. If a group of hunters kill a seal, there is always a special ceremony. The liver of the animal is removed and divided into parts. One part goes to each hunter, one extra part is thrown back through the ice hole to Nuliayuk, the goddess of seals, who lives at the bottom of the sea. If Nuliayuk is angered, she can keep all the seals down below with her. The Eskimos who have not been converted to Western religions believe that all things in nature have a spirit. This spirit is neither good nor bad. It can only be controlled for good or bad by the shaman, who is a medicine man. This shaman is not only a religious authority but a doctor. He also serves at the burial of the dead. When an Eskimo dies, his body is wrapped in a seal skin and buried under a pile of stones or just left on the ground. The few objects he has used when he was alive are left beside him. Eskimo clothes are simple. His outer garment, the parka, is made of caribou skin and lined with fur. It has a four-lined hood and it is warm in winter and cool in summer, for it keeps out both cold and heat. The trousers and boots are sealskin. The Eskimo women prepare the skins for these garments by chewing them until they are soft and then scraping them with a knife. The clothes are often ornamented. Eskimo fishermen use a one man boat called a kayak. It has a light wooden framework covered by sealskin. The fisherman seats himself in a hole cut in the center of the boat and laces himself in tightly so that no water can get to him. His harpoon is strapped to the side of the boat. With these light boats, Eskimos hunt such large prey as whales and narwhals. A larger boat is used to ferry a family. It is called a yumak. The Eskimo language is an extremely difficult to learn. The average Eskimo must know about 10,000 words, far more than the average English speaking person. Some of the nouns can be expressed in several hundred different ways, and a common verb may have 350 different endings. There are many different kinds of Eskimos, and they are isolated from one another. But their language is almost the same from Alaska all the way across the continent to Greenland. Thanks for listening.